Good day, YouTube. This is just a bit of a fun comparison video between Fedora on the left and Manjaro Linux on the right, so grab your stein of coffee and let's get started. So starting off, we've got Fedora 33 on the left and Manjaro on the right. Now starting off, Fedora is actually based on the upstream Red Hat Enterprise Linux, so it is really the latest and greatest of what is to be offered by Red Hat Enterprise Linux later on down the track. Now, and we have Manjaro Linux as well, which is really based on Arch Linux. So it's a very popular desktop environment, operating system, that kind of thing, Arch Linux there. Next up, both of these are actually running on the GNOME desktop environment, so there are some similarities, a few maybe small differences, but for the most part, on that GNOME 3.x environment there, you can pull up to find some apps there if you want, htop, whatever you want to find, but that's pretty much it for the most part there. If we move across just a little bit to the file manager, we'll find that it is mostly actually pretty much the same, but a little bit more what you would call, I guess, Manjaro Linux-esque. So it's got those cool dark and green tones there. Whereas on the right-hand side, we're just going to find that it is very light in its color tone there. But they are both called GNOME files. Nautilus goes by many names, but it's effectively the same type of file manager there. Now, in terms of the kernel, this is where it might get interesting. So we do have a later kernel by a few point releases on the Fedora release, purely because it is actually the cutting edge of the technology there for future Red Hat Linux distributions. Whereas Manjaro is still pretty good, not the best, 5.6 in terms of how it goes. Now, Fedora 33 is a point release, so you'll get a new one every 6 months, that kind of thing. Whereas we have Manjaro, which is actually a rolling release, so it's constantly one after the next. Every update is as new as it gets there, really. Just lastly, we'll have a look at the CPU and the RAM usage. CPU is quite nice and idle there. Now the RAM is pretty interesting here. You're usually looking at least 1 point something gigabytes of RAM. Right now, almost 1.3 gigabytes of RAM. So it's very high RAM intensive, unfortunately there. Whereas on the right hand side, we do have a little bit more wiggle room. So only about 500 megabytes of RAM straight off the bat. There is nothing loaded up in the background, so just these ones here. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, subscribe, hit that like button, and I do hope to see you guys in the next one. Ciao.